week were battling the elements.
It's my hair that's going to go frizzy if it gets wet.
Not my hair.
I'm fighting to work out what my house hunters want.
Does that confuse things? Massively.
Yeah.
And I could be fighting a losing battle.
I'm really upbeat.
But could do better.
Could do better.
Kirstie's on the warpath.
My first call will be to the agent. Lucky man.
And this army's marching on its stomach.
One of those for me, please.
This week we're in the northeast with two sets of house hunters who are looking to the long term.
But in the short term, Kirstie and I are dealing with a very unpredictable market.
So we're going to have to play this one a bit canny, lass.
With beautiful countryside, dramatic coastline and charming villages, the northeast of England has it all. And it's easy to see why our buyers want a little piece of it all to themselves. Karen and Chris Holder are leaving their big city life in London to return to their childhood haunts on the hunt for a forever family home.
And first-time buyers Chris Grenwell and Heather Barton have put their wedding bells on hold while they search for their own doorbell and a house to go with it.
Primary teacher Karen and PR whiz Chris have lived in London for 10 years, but their hearts have always been elsewhere, and now they've returned home to nest.
Coming up to the northeast, like coming home, we've always said, as long as we've been going out, that we're going home when we come back here.
We always talked about moving back and being with our families, and then when Amelia was born, we thought this is definitely the time.
With plans for a bigger family, they want a character property with space to grow into. And as Chris still has one foot in London with his PR business, Darlington Station is central to their search.
I don't like going away, but it's one of those necessary evils at the moment, as it's only for a couple of nights a week, which works quite well.
He's not making any sacrifice. He's going to be living it up in London 2 nights a week. It's all right for him.
Oh, thanks.
Sounds like a teeny bit of Karen is missing the hustle and bustle of the city. And with Chris away, they need a home where she doesn't feel too isolated.
For now, that means shacking up with Karen's parents just outside Darlington. But long-term, they want to feel well and truly part of village life.
The community aspect is going to be really important in the search, but also that I'm not too far away from my parents.
And high on Chris's list of priorities is a place to store his pride and joy.
I've had a kit car for about 6 years now. It's still in pieces in my parents' garage, so the house should have a garage. The other thing is that Karen said I can have a Bentley when we move up here, so it's got to be a garage big enough for a kit car and a Bentley.
I only said that if I could choose the house. So you heard it here first.
Karen's clearly a woman who knows how to get what she wants.
And that makes 2 of you. Chris, I fully sympathise.
So the 2 things that we're thinking about are your commute, because you're spending 2 nights a week in London, and probably more importantly, Karen's access to mother and toddler groups, a local nursery school.
From my side, certainly the community and just making sure Karen's safe is more important than me having another 20 minutes or half hour on my journey having to get a train somewhere.
Yeah. The market up here is incredibly slow. It's this stagnation that no one's moving and no one wants to be the one that pays too much or takes too little for their property.
Although, you know, your house might have dropped, everybody else's house has dropped.
Yes.
So you're going to be moving into another house, you know, that's less than it was. So.
Yeah. The price side of things we'll just examine on a case-by-case basis.
Okay,
yeah.
Sounds good.
Buying in a stagnant market can feel scary, but there are positives to be found. The initiative is usually with the buyer, so more than ever, it's worth chancing your arm with a low offer.
Karen and Chris seem to have a really sensible attitude to this slow market. They have £350,000 to find a minimum of 3 bedrooms within easy commuting distance of Darlington's train station. Character is key and a sense of community is crucial.
While Kirstie searches for a nest for a new baby, further north in Newcastle, first-time buyers Chris and Heather are fighting a bit of a Peter Pan syndrome.
We're not spring chickens anymore, really, are we? So it is getting to a point where I'd quite like to settle down.
Get our own home and grow into that home in the pace of life.
And grow up.
A little bit. Not too much. Yeah.
Heather's web design business has outgrown the spare bedroom, so these guys desperately need more space. especially since factory worker Chris dreams of eventually swapping production lines for panoramas.
I want to follow my hobby, become a photographer and steadily increase that. Potentially we're going to have, myself and Heather, going to be working from home. We're really looking for that extra space, which we've never had.
And while finding the right house will finally give Heather the green light to plan their wedding, Chris is already planning new additions to the family.
My priorities, obviously at the moment, is a house. And then after that, I don't know, I should say marriage, but I would say a dog. It's pretty much where I'm going down. I'm sorry for that, but it's true. So yeah, that would be nice. But then obviously, you know, I'd be looking to get married and then maybe a family in the future.
Chris may well end up in the doghouse if he's not careful.
So I kind of see you guys, young, cool couple, living in town, going out, gigs, music. Now we're talking wedding dresses and babies and dogs.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what you need and how you see this next chapter of your life.
Yeah, well,
We're undecided because it is that changing point in our lives. So whilst there's part of us that knows going out of the city a bit will be better for family life and bringing up kids, there is a bit of us that's trying to cling on slightly to our youth and doesn't want to stray too far from the city. So we're a little
really
bit
stuck in limbo at the moment.
Yeah, we are a bit.
Without you being able to say to me, I want to live close to town, or I want to live in the countryside, or I want to live by the coast, then it means we're not entirely comparing like with like. So it's important to try and forecast and think about your lifestyle in 3 and 5 years' time. And that can be quite difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, at least Chris and Heather know what they want. For $205,000, they're after a period property with a minimum of 3 beds. As for where they're prepared to look, up to 20 miles outside of Newcastle in any direction. So I've got one heck of a search on my hands.
Only me. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, all right, thank you, all right.
I've got a teacher and a PR guy.
Yeah.
10 years in London, both sets of parents up here, all the aunts and uncles, delicious baby. And obviously coming from London, so they want the moon on a stick.
I'm a bit troubled because I just met them, really nice couple.
Yeah.
They just don't know how they want to live. They're that kind of crux in life. They're sort of early 30s, about to get married. They don't know what they want out of their new lifestyle.
I'm so glad I've got my search and you've got your search.
Thanks for the concern, Kirstie. My first-time buyers, Chris and Heather, are searching in Newcastle as well as the rural and coastal areas around it.
While Karen, Chris and baby Amelia's hunting ground is 35 miles further south in the countryside around Darlington and its all-important train station.
This area's been home to pioneers across the centuries. Explorer Captain Cook was born in the northeast, and the world's first passenger railway steamed into life here in the 1800s.
Nowadays, northeasterners typically enjoy shorter journeys to work than the rest of the UK, and there's a village or market town to suit every taste, from the bustling Yarm to sleepy Piercebridge and Manfield.
Property prices here are as tasty as the views, as much as 70 grand beneath the national average. And then there are the welcoming northeast locals.
The people are nicer in the northeast. I must say, very, very friendly indeed.
It's a good balance of like rural life, you know what I mean, living in the country, but you're close enough to the city to be able to go to the cinema, sort of like nights out and all that sort of stuff.
I can't imagine anybody not want to live in the northeast. There's nothing to dislike about the northeast.
Welcoming and modest.
Karen and Chris have thrown the net wide, hoping to catch a corker for them and baby Amelia. And this 3-bed in the picturesque village of Middleton Tyres, just 15 minutes drive from Darlington Station, could be a real catch.
Built just 21 years ago, it's not a period property, but it does have the character thereafter. It's been valued at between £330,000 and £365,000, and I'm hoping we manage to land it before anyone else gets through the door, as it's not even on the market yet.
You've already seen the village. We've been in the pub. Now, the property we're going to see is this one.
Yeah, it's really good. I like the appearance of it from the outside.
It is the best property that was available with the double garage.
Right.
He's so pleased about the double garage, he's gone all silent. Yeah.
Kirstie, if that was Chris pleased as punch, I'd hate to see him troubled.
Moving into the hall, you've got your kitchen on your left, vast dining room, and
that's amazing.
good-sized sitting room.
I love the fireplace.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, ticks the boxes for me.
It's definitely got charm.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just looking here.
I know. This is a bit of a tour de force, this kitchen.
I like this room, definitely like this room. I could see our stuff being in here. At the moment, it all looks good.
We're looking forward to looking upstairs now.
See what you think, and I will be interested to hear.
Yes. Okay.
So far, so good. Good start. Feeling quite chipper.
Don't speak too soon. Chris has barely said a word so far.
What do you think about the upstairs?
I think I could do with a bit more space.
Yeah.
Maybe one more bedroom. But...
Downstairs, so it's like brilliant, brilliant, and now I'm like not so sure.
So, plenty of room for cars, but not enough for people. Just as well I have a plan.
Upstairs,
Slightly smaller than we thought or hoped for.
I think two things. A, remove all those fitted cupboards in the bedroom. They just make it look smaller than it is. B, you have got the very good possibility of building an extension above the sitting room.
We love the downstairs. It's just the upstairs that sort of put a dampener on it at the moment. And it's got everything else. It's got the double garage.
There's a really good start. I'm really upbeat and positive.
Could do better.
Could do better. My life story, let me tell you.
Now there's an idea for a book that would make a fascinating read.
I'm in the villages around Darlington with new parents Karen and Chris. After 10 years in the bright lights, can they really settle around the village green?
And I'm with Heather and Chris in the Newcastle area, who've put everything on hold, including their wedding, until they can find a place to put down roots.
Karen, Chris and baby Amelia have come home to look for a forever family home.
While first-time buyers Chris and Heather know what they want in a house, but are not at all sure where or how they want to live. Newcastle offers lively nightlife, award-winning design, and it's one of the most sustainable cities in the UK. But it's not all about the bright lights, and that's part of Chris and Heather's dilemma.
They could go barefoot on the beaches for around 225 grand, pull on their wellies in the countryside for around £175,000, or don their dancing shoes in the city, where a two-bedroomed apartment with river views comes in around 200,000.
As Chris and Heather aren't entirely sure they want to leave their city lifestyle just yet, I've decided to show them exactly what staying put would mean. This three-bed Victorian terrace is in Low Fell, just a few minutes from their rented home. The property needs work, but at $185,000 there's money in the pot for improvements and plenty of space in which to expand.
I thought I'd start with something that you were comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that's the house we're going to look at.
Okay.
First thoughts?
Not completely blown away.
I think it's the new windows.
One thing that has been updated are the windows.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the one thing that would have been nice if it was original.
Yeah.
So come in and see what you think.
Could do better, Phil.
Now, where have I heard that one before?
I see this as a house that would suit you now in terms of its size and position and price, but it has fantastic opportunity to make it bigger and to extend it and to let the house evolve as your requirements grow.
Yeah. Okay. As it stands, I'm not 100. I wouldn't be 100% honest. You know, I'd say.
I was going to say I wasn't blown away by it.
No.
But the fact that you can extend it is interesting to me.
Well, come on, let's see the rest of it.
Okay.
Heather can see the potential, and the possibility of a studio in the garden will surely get Chris's creative juices flowing.
Chris, I had this in mind for you.
Okay.
I haven't seen your work and how much space you need. In time, could this be made to suit a bit of photography?
Without a doubt, yeah. Well, you've got a perfect studio. Really have.
So the studio has got Chris excited, but I'm not sure the rest of the house is having quite the same effect.
Lowfell was the safe option, but their reaction tells me safe is not going to be enough.
I really like it, but I'm afraid they seem a bit underwhelmed at the moment.
I wouldn't really expect it to be any bigger in Lowfell, but I think there's part of me going, I'd rather take a hit on the area than
I think
hit
so
on
too.
the size of the house, I think.
So too.
I don't know.
Now then.
Now, I'd hoped starting in Lowfell would give you a sort of a benchmark, a point of comfort.
I can't complain about the location of it.
It's a safe option.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it is.
Absolutely.
Is it an exciting option for you though?
I don't know whether I'm a little bit.
Possibly not.
I think we should go on and see something a bit further out and,
Yeah.
and get you a bit more space.
Yeah, I'd like to probably see it and then see where we're at after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So perhaps they are ready to make the big leap into the unknown after all. Back in the Darlington area with Karen's Could Do Better still ringing in my ears, our next property is in the village of Gainford, 20 minutes from the all-important train station. It's one of their preferred spots, so I should be onto a good thing.
This 3-bed barn conversion offers plentiful living space, good-sized bedrooms and an enormous garden with room to build a double garage.
It's just £50 under their £350,000 budget, but the market around here is slow and it came on 9 months ago. The vendors are clearly determined to see the sale through, so they're more likely to come down in price.
It's always worth checking how long a property's been on the market and why the vendor's selling. If you decide to offer, this sort of information could strengthen your bargaining power.
It's a great location. It's a fantastic sized garden. It's a good building.
Yeah. Bring it on.
Bring it on. Ooh, fighting talk today.
Don't mess with her, Kirst. I think she could take you.
Right, let's get in out of that filthy weather.
Wow, it's really nice.
It is really nice,
Yeah.
isn't it?
You know, the garden's amazing, and
The
the kitchen is brilliant, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of possibilities with the sort of extra
And it
land
does
at the
have the
side
country
here.
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
The one downside of this property is its approach through the back alley, past a row of less than pretty garages. But the huge garden allows the possibility of changing the house layout and the access, which would greatly improve the feel of the property overall.
There's various things you could do. I personally would be tempted to take the house, and then the second you could afford to build on that way and make an L shape, and in a way turn it in on itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
This plan takes the one downside of the property and flips it on its head. First impressions can be turned around with a bit of vision and a dash of imagination.
And where there's potential to add square footage, there's potential to add value. But Karen and Chris have other concerns.
Being in Gainford was one of the places that you specified.
Gainford's quite a big village and there's a relatively major road going through the middle of it.
Yeah.
And on the other side there's sort of village greens and what have you.
We're on the wrong side of the tracks, aren't we?
Well, not really. I think if those garages weren't there and it was just a lane leading up to the house, then it would be fine.
If you're looking that way, like you were saying about being cocooned, you're in the country and it's beautiful and everything, and then I guess I would feel a little bit unsafe. I don't know why.
So they like the village, just not where it is in the village, and they like the house but aren't convinced by my plan to sort the approach. Looks like it's back to the drawing board then.
You've had worse starts. For day 2, I'm calling on my very own Angel of the North to help me crack my location conundrum with first-time buyers Chris and Heather.
Did you have a nice day? How'd you get on?
House number 1, exactly what I thought, how they would react, they did.
Good.
House number 2, how they would react, they did.
Yeah.
And house number 3 and 4 are stronger.
You're reading them well.
I know.
Understanding them.
Yeah.
Listening. You must have been doing some listening. Heaven forbid. You've got it right. We did all right here. First house, a good starting point. She didn't say a lot and she didn't look very impressed after the first one. This is going to be a real departure.
Phil, that umbrella, it's my hair that's going to go frizzy if it gets wet.
Look at my hair. I know I haven't got a lot, but it's quite precious.
I'm not saying a word.
Yeah, and that makes a change. I brought Chris and Heather 15 miles southwest out of Newcastle to Shockley Bridge, a pretty village deep in the northeast countryside. This 3-storey Victorian terrace has fantastic views and offers 2 more bedrooms than the Lowfell property. It's 10 grand under budget at 195,000. But if they move here, the lifestyle change would be massive. And as they're unsure about how much they want to change their lives, it could be a step too far.
Well, a bit of a departure from yesterday, coming out here to the countryside. Shotley Bridge is a stunning, stunning spot.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's one of the nicest areas around the North East. It's a good start, fantastic.
And that's what we're looking at.
OK.
I've only been here 5 minutes and things are looking up already, Phil.
Very different dimensions to where we were yesterday. You've got 3 living rooms.
Yeah.
Plus 3 kitchen, and you've got 5 bedrooms.
Wow. Really?
So there's a lot of space.
That's much more interesting.
So Chris loves that he gets more bang for his buck further out of town, but Heather's still not giving much away.
What's your gut feeling?
I like it. I really like it.
Do you think it's a case of be careful what you wish for?
Possibly. Always.
So you're looking a bit nervous now.
I am. Well, I don't know. I think it's because I don't know what Chris knows yet. So I haven't heard his side, but I'm always a bit cautious.
It's yeah, it's really nice. Quite blown away. It's pulling the heartstrings a bit. It seems like a really, really good-sized property. Much more than I expected, to be fair.
It seems to me if you are happy to move out of town, you should, because you get a great big house.
I think I'm coming around much more to the idea as we look around.
Chris is wearing his heart on his sleeve, but Heather doesn't look like a woman who's fallen head over heels.
It's difficult. I think my heart's taking over now. I've got to stop reining in a bit, start thinking through the head. Usually it seems like a sensible option as well, though. It is, isn't it? Viable, you know, financially wise, and for the property that you get within a good area.
It's not a bad price.
Strange thing happened upstairs. I asked Heather what she thought of the house, and she couldn't really give me a reply. And she said she wanted to see what Chris was thinking.
Right. Chris down here was practically skipping mad.
I know.
Really,
that's the
really
thing.
positive.
That's what surprised me, because he was so enthusiastic when we came in that I thought she could already see what he was thinking.
Did you get much out of her?
But no, I didn't get that much out of her, I have to admit. Right.
Smiles all round.
I'm trying to contain them.
I don't.
Not good.
Really, really nice, yeah. Quite blown away. You know, accessibility to the countryside is second to none.
Heather, how do you feel about working from here and living out in the country?
I don't think I have a problem with that. So where I am in terms of work doesn't really matter.
OK. Onwards.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
Well, I don't think much of Chris's poker face, but Heather's keeping her cards close to her chest. I've still no idea what she's really thinking.
We're in the northeast with 2 sets of hopeful house hunters, and while first-time buyers Chris and Heather ponder a life of rural bliss, Kirstie's drafted me in for her next viewing with new parents Karen and Chris.
They've been dreaming of the move back up north ever since they met 6 years ago, but with 2 properties down so far, the reality is just not matching up.
This pretty 3-bed cottage could do the trick. It's in the small village of Manfield, perfectly positioned for Chris's commute just 6 miles from Darlington and the East Coast main line to London.
With an impressive kitchen diner, separate sitting room and cosy snug, it offers various options for family living. Whilst the garden is smaller than in Gainford, it cunningly steals the outlook over the open field to gain a sense of space.
At just under 360,000, it's nearly 10 grand over budget, but it's another property that's been on the slow-moving market for 6 months, so that figure could well be negotiable.
And straight through into one of the nicest family kitchens I have seen in a long time.
This is lovely.
The house is well balanced. The living space is 10 out of 10.
Sure.
They've got plenty of permission to put another room up above here.
Okay.
It will stretch from this wall right to the end of the house.
Okay. First impressions of the kitchen is exactly what we were after, and the house is in a lovely village.
Yeah.
So far, so good, but I've been here before with these 2, and this is far from being in the bag.
There are a lot of people who would have, after 10 years in London, wanted to come back home and buy something to really knock the socks off their mates back home.
And I mean, it is about the family rather than anything. I mean, it'd be lovely to have a manor house somewhere, but at the moment it's very much about Amelia and hopefully, God willing, another baby.
You're coming back home to recreate the very happy way in which you were brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems to me,
so, yeah.
Well, I think it's fantastic.
Now, the outside's kind of split into 3 different plots.
Right.
Arguably, there's actually quite a bit of land with the house.
Yeah,
It's just the way it's set out, because the house sits in the middle of its plot, which is quite nice.
I don't think it's a deal breaker.
Don't think it is?
I don't think it is.
Good.
Yeah, so far I'm getting good vibes. My mind's thinking of all the possibilities at the moment.
Her mind's whirring and she's gone all twirly. Despite my garden worries, it looks like this house is sweeping our Karen off her feet.
This is maybe my favourite so far.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the location's good because it's good to Darlington, obviously to my parents.
Yeah.
There's a few possibilities of making improvements. This is quite exciting.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, much as you said, very lovely couple making very sensible choices. I thought the garden might be a problem. It wasn't a deal breaker. Perfectly okay with it.
Do you think it's the current climate is sobering everyone up a bit, making them more reasonable and understanding that you buy a house for life for your family?
I do. I think it is the climate. It's made people reassess what is the house about. Well, there we have it. You've had a good chance to have a think and a talk.
Yeah, we've talked about it. We really like it. It's the best one we've seen so far. Food for thought.
Okie doke.
Well, I'm finally getting somewhere with Karen and Chris, and while Phil hotfoots it back north, I want to keep the momentum going. We're in the village of Stainton, 30 minutes drive from Darlington. It's the furthest out of all the villages we've looked at, but I think this property is worth it.
Chris said to me that he wanted a manor house at a point in the future. And I thought, you know what, why wait? And this is pretty close to it.
Yeah, it's really lovely.
This grand 19th century house has 4 bedrooms and several reception rooms, providing Karen and Chris with more than enough space for their family to grow into.
It is considerably above budget, at just shy of £400,000, but it's been on the market for just under a year and a half, so we're in an excellent position to negotiate, and if Karen and Chris like this property, it could well be their forever home.
This house has been built out by its current owner, who's done a really remarkable job. And usually, obviously, we don't start in the garden, but I just wanted you to see it before it got dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Chris,
nice.
you look cold.
I'm getting there.
I just want to get in.
No, so do I, yes, come on.
So much for looking at the garden. Karen and Chris can't wait to get in.
Before we go round, let's get the major issue out of the way. This house originally went on the market at 500,000. It has been reduced to 400,000. We are not showing you this house on the basis that we think you're going to pay £400,000 for it. We're showing it to you because we think it's a cracker, because we know that it really, really does tick lots of boxes.
There is a bit more money there that we can play about with, so yeah, it's certainly an option.
But then if it's a great house, and obviously I haven't seen it all, and it's a house that we could live in for a long time, then we're not bothered about if it's going to go up or down.
So there's extra money in the pot. Better to know late than never. And that's my one big worry about this house taken care of.
Oh, wow.
I know. Oh, wow is the word. So you've got 1, 2 bedrooms, lovely big bathroom, and master bedroom here with an ensuite.
Excellent.
Excellent, Chris. I think that's our first excellent. What does the teacher give us?
9 3/4.
9 3/4.
I have a feeling that extra quarter may be lurking somewhere in the attic bedroom.
Wow, this is unexpected.
Unexpected. So does it get me the extra? No, it doesn't. It's the price, isn't it? If it were cheaper, it'd be 10 out of 10. Yeah. So I don't.
No,
I've lost a Mars bar.
An 8.
It gets me an 8. Oh, does it? Oh, I'll take an 8. Where have you got that stashed away? You are welcome to peruse further without me, which I suspect you want to do.
I think you may have scored, Kirstie.
So what do you think?
I like it.
Really like it?
Yeah.
Because I really like. I think we need to get it.
Okay.
Because I really like it.
Yeah, so do I.
No, but I really like it.
I'm not sure, but I think they might really, really like it.
I'm the one who's rambling on saying I've got all emotional and everything, but what do you think?
I really like it. I mean, I'm the same. I think it's the house that we'd always talked about.
This is the return from London. It's the big house that Chris talked about. It's the thing that they never really admitted that they wanted. Is it the right decision for them financially? Difficult to say. Is it the right decision for them emotionally? Yes.
Looks like you might have it in the bag. But I've still got plenty of work to do with Chris and Heather further north. And with daylight fading, we're in the coastal town of Whitley Bay, 10 miles northeast of Newcastle.
At £215,000, this impressive 4-bedroom terraced house is over budget, but the property provides the best of coastal living with the convenience of the town's high street close by, and with no work required, Chris and Heather could move straight in.
I'm kind of pitching it to you as the best of both worlds. You've got the beach at the end of the street, and you've got the high street at the other end of the street. You've got access into Newcastle, half an hour on the metro. How do you feel about the swap of countryside to coast?
This feels safer. This feels like less of a change.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other one is a massive lifestyle change, so this feels like an easier transition.
Heather seems more drawn to this house, and it certainly offers a more manageable change of pace for them both.
But Chris has lost a bit of the sparkle he had in the country property. He may have left his heart behind, and we may have a dilemma on our hands.
This is definitely the sort of house that I would love to have. It's difficult to know until you've had children how for granted you'd probably take having something on your doorstep. I think I would expect that will become increasingly important to have things on my doorstep, but I don't know.
That is why this search has been so difficult.
Yeah.
It's because we're trying to preempt what life's going to be like. There's no right or wrong. It's personal preference. Your first time home could be your forever home. And that would be a very, very rare and special thing to be able to do.
Definitely.
At last, Heather's starting to open up. And she's right to consider whether the property suits the life they intend to lead, as well as their current lifestyle.
Predicting the future is tricky for all of us, but a well-thought-through purchase should prevent any unnecessary moves further down the line.
OK, we've got a bit of a crossover here, haven't we? On one hand, we've got an absolute amazing house in the country.
Well, it
which is a lifestyle change.
Some work, and it is a massive lifestyle change.
It is a lifestyle change.
This doesn't need any work, and I'm liking the grandeur.
It really has got...
It's what I was looking for. Period grandeur.
We've got a Darlington, haven't we?
I couldn't call it at the moment. I really couldn't. Heather seems much more enamoured and excited about this house, whereas Chris seemed really excited about Shotley Bridge. It's a difficult one. I don't know which way they're going to go.
Your guess is as good as mine, Phil, and it's clear these two have a lot of talking to do.
Oh. Does that confuse things?
Yes. It has a bit, yeah.
Massively.
Yeah.
Property number 2 still is gripping me. It's got a lot of really good attributes to it.
Yeah.
For what number 2 lacks, you know, this has, and vice versa, you know, there's real swings and roundabouts.
So I'd really encourage you overnight to think about your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Try not to think about the houses too much.
That's easier said than done, isn't it?
I know. It's not always... It's difficult.
Something tells me there may be a bit of a sleepless night ahead.
It's a new day in the northeast, and Karen and Chris have decided to revisit the Victorian villa in Stainton and indulge their dreams of family life on a grand scale.
But before the house gets a green light, Chris wants to make sure his beloved kit car will have just as impressive digs.
This is the obvious place to put the garage. Various quotes have been received, but they go between 16 and 25.
The kit car's only small, so we could fit that in, and a small family car, so yeah, it's just where to put the Bentley now.
Let's not run before we can drive in our Bentley.
Next up is the garden that we only saw briefly yesterday before being seduced by the house's many charms. In the cold light of day, we make a discovery that absolutely underlines the importance of second viewings.
Not sure what that is at the end.
It seems the vendors sectioned off a part of the garden, which hints at the possibility of another property being built on the extra land. But at this stage, nothing is certain.
I'm in a position now where I've got to do a bit more investigation. My first call will be to the agent, lucky man, and my second will be to the planning office.
Yeah. If there was something there already, obviously, then we would have just accepted it with the house, but now it's the fear of the unknown for me, personally.
Yes, totally understandable. I mean,
no doubt.
It sows seeds of doubt. If you're okay by yourselves, go and have a look around the house, and I will get straight back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to try not to fall back in love with the house.
No, well, don't fall back in love with the house if you want, but just preserve a bit of your heart.
Okay.
This viewing may be overshadowed by uncertainty, but Kirstie will get to the heart of the matter, and Karen and Chris will have to try and keep cool heads as they walk around, if it's not too late already.
This is like the perfect family kitchen, isn't it? You can imagine like cooking here and having
A big table still.
And this is the kitchen that Dora's like dreamt of.
And with a range.
Yeah, of course.
They have raised the topic of what's going on at the end of the garden. Has anyone who has looked at it previously made any offers to the vendors for that piece of land? It's absolutely 100% not for sale. So you do know that they have got plans to build on it?
So what do you think?
I still really like it.
But now, obviously, that's a niggling doubt in the back of my mind.
Yeah, I think we just need to do a lot more investigation into what's actually possible on the land and what we can do about it.
It's not sounding like they've managed to preserve much of their hearts.
I still love the house, but I'm trying not to love the house almost until we know what's happening.
Well, I've made a couple of calls and I've got a lot more info.
Right.
So probably the best thing to do is go and sit down and talk about it.
They've fallen hard for this property, and I can only hope what I have to tell them isn't about to break their hearts.
While Karen and Chris nervously await the news from Kirstie on the Stainton property, further north in the Newcastle area, it seems Chris and Heather really do like to be beside the sea.
So, the beautiful Whitley Bay won over by all accounts.
Yes, after some hard deliberation. Property number 2 was really pulled the heartstrings. And I felt myself getting really emotionally attached to that, but I've got to kind of think through my head.
And we're not too sure if we're ready to...
Just think the transition might be a bit too difficult to make at the moment.
Well, let's get ourselves back to the house, because it was a bit in the dark. We didn't see in the garden properly, I know. And spend some time in the area to try and get to know her.
Yes, brilliant.
OK, good plan.
As Chris and Heather aren't hugely familiar with Whitley Bay, I help them to get a feel for the area.
Get some nice sauce flowers from here, my dear.
Checking out local amenities and transport links is a must for anyone intending to buy in an unfamiliar location.
Nice local butchers.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We fancy a cake. What was that?
Chocolate glass.
Sold. One of those for me, please.
I'm not sure bribing them with cake is the way forward, Phil.
Excellent, thank you very much. Cheers, I'll take that.
I'm simply showing them what Whitley Bay has to offer. Back at the house, they're keen to have a good look at the garden, which we couldn't view in the dark last night.
Well, back in the daylight this time.
Yes, does make a hell of a difference.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they're going to go for it yet, but if they do, this would be the most spectacular first-time buy. I genuinely can't remember ever helping first-time buyers buy something that really could be a forever home.
It's taken a lot of soul-searching, but Chris and Heather have finally cracked their lifestyle conundrum. The question now is whether this house is the right one for them.
Time to retreat somewhere neutral to talk it all through.
How are you feeling about it?
At the beginning in our search, you know, our dream house was this kind of Victorian terrace, huge house. And that's what we've got there. That's what's sitting just around the corner. Is what we've been looking for.
This is a very special property, there's no doubt about that. They're asking 215, it hasn't been on the market very long. I'm comfortable at 205, 210. So if I was to ring them up and say, they came to me with a budget of 205, 205 is the offer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
So am I.
I'm happy to do that. I'd be, yeah, see what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Margaret, hi there. We've just had our good chinwag about things, and I'm pleased to say that they do very much like the house, and they do want to make you an offer. 205 is a price that they could get to. They love the house, they'd be happy to pay that. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye. She says, I think we're a few thousand out, but it's looking favourable. Okay.
Wait.
Wait and see, I'm afraid.
Oh.
Wait and see.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Chris and Heather can only cross their fingers and wait while I'm filling Karen and Chris in on the situation with the house in Stainton. It turns out the vendors have submitted plans to build a bungalow on the land behind the property, and although it's been refused on the basis of access, it doesn't mean that they won't apply again in the future.
Well, we still really like the house,
Yeah.
as we've talked about, but there is that uncertainty which makes us very, very nervous.
No, if we didn't know about that, we'd be making the offer now.
You love the house, you like the village. That house is worth going the extra mile for. My advice would be you go and you sit down with the vendors and you talk to them openly and honestly about what they are planning. And you have to say, look, we are thinking about making an offer for your house. We really like your house, but there is absolutely no point in proceeding in any way until we have more knowledge.
We're certainly going to look into it in more detail and look at the possibility of meeting the vendors so that we've got all the information we need in order to make a fully informed decision.
Once you've had that conversation, if there comes a point when you want to make an offer on that house, I will be more than happy to make it for you. Because right now you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yeah.
It's been a rocky road, but it's certainly not over for this property yet.
Overnight, first-time buyers Chris and Heather's offer was rejected, and the following morning they asked me to increase their offer by £2.5 grand.
Hi there, it's Phil.
Hi Phil, how are you?
I'm very well and I have good news.
Good news?
Yeah, the increased offer, it absolutely accepts 207.5, property off the market, deal done.
Ah, you absolute gem, Phil. Thank you so much. I'm over the moon.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we're made up now.
Okay, all the best to both.
Thank you again, Phil. Okay, see you later.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, bye. Oh. Yes! Done it, finally.
2 months on, Karen and Chris have some news on the Stainton house they love so much.
Since the search, we've met with the owners of the house and we've made the decision not to proceed with that one. So we've basically started the search again.
But they've picked up some new ideas in how to approach their house hunting, which you could try too.
We've learnt a lot more about what to look for in a property. And so what we're doing is we've got a range of things we're doing, working with estate agents. We've got notices in shop windows in order to try and find houses in the villages that we really like.
The Stainton house set a high benchmark.
That is the only house that I've ever got emotional about, and I've not seen one since, but we have been, you know, we've seen a couple that we quite like.
So we're still positive. We know something will come along down the line.
Fingers crossed their positivity, hard work, plus a little bit of what they learned from us will help get them there soon. It's better news for Chris and Heather in Whitley Bay. They've been living in their new home for 2 weeks now and are already making the house their own.
It hasn't fully sunk in for me yet. We've been in rented accommodation for so many years, it still feels a bit like, is this really ours or is it somebody else's?
Chris fell for the Shotley Bridge property, but there are no regrets.
When we actually came here, and we came to Whitley Bay, and I started looking around the area, and we went to the local pub, and that was when it really kind of hit home that, you know, Shotley Bridge would never have been our home. It would have just been a house.
Moving to the coast seems to have been the best solution.
It was a perfect decision, it really was. And you know, when it kind of dawned on us and stuff, it was just such a warm feeling inside. I was really, really over the moon. And still am, I've still got that, I've still got the butterflies now. You know, when I come to the door every day, it's exactly the same.
And it's not just the house that's got them all aflutter, it's the area too.
We've been down to the beach quite a few times on walks. It's really nice after a long day at work to just get out there and clear the cobwebs out.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's nice, it's good for the soul, I think.
The only thing we're missing is a dog. Once we get that, you know, the family's complete.
Don't worry about the dog just yet. You look pretty happy to me.